biggest show in sports.
There are three stories that we are going to get beat over the head with every single week of every single day of the season coming up, and it's going to happen. First, it's going to be Shedeur Sanders. If Shedeur Sanders succeeds, then he beat all the odds. If he doesn't, it's the media's fault and the NFL for being racist towards him and ruining his career. Aaron Rodgers, the old man comes out with a cane and a walker onto the football field, becomes the first guy ever to play with an aide and an assistant behind him on the offensive line. And if he succeeds, he beats the odds. If he doesn't succeed, people hated Aaron Rodgers and he shouldn't have been there in the first place. And then Dak Prescott, holy God in the morning, I don't want to hear another person tell me that it's time for the Dallas Cowboys to win a Super Bowl and Dak Prescott is the guy that's going to do it. He hasn't done it yet. He's been sitting there for how many years now, and everybody talks to us that Dak Prescott is going to lead the Cowboys to a Super Bowl. Gentlemen, I know it's going to happen. To me, those are the three stories that we are going to hear over and over again, and frankly, I think it's all hysterical. To me, it's all just fun entertainment at this point, because all three of those stories are just complete bullshit.
But that's what it is. It is entertaining, and there's a camp that wants to see him succeed. All three of these guys in a camp that wants to see them fail. I'm all in for the epic meltdown, by the way, and especially with Rodgers. I mean, let's face it, Rodgers is not a guy who is likable by any stretch of the imagination. I was talking to Ed earlier, and there was this clip, one of those. I looked up the signing and reaction to the signing, and there was something on Twitter. It was awesome. It was a movie clip with I've got to look here with
Kevin Nealon. It was Kevin Nealon.
Yeah. Kevin Nealon, and he was talking. There was an office meeting, and he said, last night I had a dream where I dreamt I was a dove, and then I dove into the water, and I merged with the dolphin, and we were one. And he goes, I have a feeling this is going to be us, people. We're going to have a great year, and that's kind of encapsulates the whole psychedelic vibe that Rodgers has, but beyond the psychedelic vibe, he's got an egomaniacal vibe. And if I had to pick one wish list, would be for it to be an epic failure.
Look, let's be honest. If Aaron Rodgers actually wants to do anything that really becomes historic and fun, look, he's in Pittsburgh now. So why doesn't he just emulate a former Pittsburgh sports star? He could be like Doc Ellis. He could be out there going and playing the game actually stoned to the bejesus on LSD, and maybe he'll throw for 400 yards. I mean, now that, if Rodgers did that, that would fit perfectly, and maybe I might start liking the guy. But until this point, I can't wait to see him fail. He's an ass clown.
Yep.
Yeah, he is. Well, Brett Favre, I mean, he's basically Brett Favre in training at this point.
Oh,
he, like I said, he went from the guy that everybody loved and wanted to replace Brett Favre, this kid that never got a chance, to the Diva 2. And he's just, I mean, come on, Aaron. Like I said, getting him it's not going out and getting a free agent. You went on an archaeological dig as the Steelers, and the guy's carbon dated. I mean, he's the only person in the NFL that still has a Jesus Christ starter jacket. I'll be here all week, by the way. Go ahead. But
you will be.
Nice. But I get I can't stand him. Nobody can stand him. He's anti-vax. He's friends with Pat McAfee. I want to see. I hate Aaron Rodgers with. I hate Aaron Rodgers with the passion of 1,000 white hot burning suns. That'd be great. What's the second one?
Well, no,
Dak
wait a minute.
Prescott.
George wanted to add something there. George, you had something on Rodgers?
Yeah.
No, actually, he compared him to Brett Favre, but at least I got to give Rodgers credit. He hasn't built a college fund to build a volleyball.
He hasn't built the state out of its tax money to basically put it in his own pocket. Yeah.
So, I give him credit for that. He's not quite there yet, but, his career is still, he's got time to make that happen as well.
But let's make sure we add this up. If Aaron Rodgers fails in Pittsburgh this year, and let's turn this into some sort of a story, Mike Tomlin should be fired immediately if this team goes in the toilet, because Tomlin is a guy that basically makes the decisions at the end of the day. And I get it. There's not a lot of great quarterbacks sitting out there. There's only serviceable guys sitting out there and maybe some young talent that you can look at. But if the Steelers go in the tank this year, it's time to end Mike Tomlin and get him the hell out of Pittsburgh because he failed. I mean, you're telling me you can't do any better than Rodgers? Really?
There wasn't much out there, as I recall. That was part of the problem.
I get that.
No, I agree with you. But it seems to me, obviously, Tomlin, now I don't know how many years he's been there forever, but he seems to be Teflon no matter what happens. And the team is always kind of good enough just to let it slide for another year. But certainly that team does not have the nucleus, I think, to compete for a title.
But if Rodgers fails, and to your point, Tomlin's been there a long time. I don't have the exact years in front of me.
But Mike Tomlin has better job security than most Supreme Court justices.
See,
it's ridiculous.
And there's a problem with that because if Rodgers fails this year and the Steelers go in the tank, it's because Tomlin set them up for failure by not making the right decisions 5 seasons ago, 3 seasons ago, 2 seasons to go. You still have to lead up to what it is today, and Tomlin's a guy that makes the decisions. You got to take that Teflon off this guy. Now, if they succeed and Rodgers gets him in the playoffs, huzzah, he gets another 25-year contract. But I don't see that happening. Aaron Rodgers is toast,
I'm surprised.
Man. Come on, he's done.
Yeah, he's done.
Yeah, he is. And I don't know why. I mean, they had to move on from Russell Wilson, but I think Wilson gives them a better chance to be more competitive. And the other thing, you look at guys who are kind of approaching their expiration date. Peyton Manning and Brady come to mind, but those guys still had enough juice left, and they had a much better supporting cast with Brady in Tampa and Peyton in Denver to win those titles. That's not happening in Pittsburgh.
Well, even with a guy like Russell Wilson or anybody else, you don't have all the off-field distractions that you've got. I mean, just in itself, all of the crap that Rodgers brings with him, and that's going to drag down a team all season long. I mean, hell, that's all you're going to be hearing is the stories. The first time Aaron Rodgers goes on a Pat McAfee show again and blabbers some more bullshit, then that's going to be what everybody is talking about and not the Steelers. And if the Steelers then suck, and if they're just basically a bad team this year, the whole franchise is going to be wrapped up in that. It's all going to be about Aaron Rodgers and his nonsense.
Yep.
So, that's a fact.
I don't care about Dak Prescott. I totally disagree with anybody that doesn't root for the great, the one, the only Shedeur Sanders. I love that kid. I have gone from hating him to loving him. And you know why? You know why, guys? I saw a little clip on Facebook when I was going through Facebook Reels and I had no life except to wait for the show every week. I went through the Facebook Reels and I got to one where Dion and Shedeur was a little kid and Dion was telling him, I love you like my other sons. Oh my God, it was so precious. And all I kept thinking was, how did that kid make me irritated years later in life? He's such a nice kid. I kind of do root for him only because half the country hates him, and which they have good reasons to hate him and his dad. But the people that hate him because they're black and he's the young kid that's a little showy, that's all racism. So I hate that kind of crap. So
but I don't hate him.
I'm rooting for. I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for him just because. I want to be different, and oh,
you're different, Mike. Trust me, we already know that. You've got that knocked, buddy.
Yeah, you've proven that in the last.
But I don't know what it is, and also Shedeur is greater than Jesus, Gandhi, and Mother Teresa put together. So let's just lay it on the table.
There you go. Yeah, I'm kind of ambivalent about I like Dak and Sanders. It's like whatever happens, I just want to see it play out. But it always. It's that drama. But we talked about the NBA and people, kind of trying to create this drama. At least here you have, whether they are over the hill or, haven't quite reached their potential like Dak or some controversial newcomer, these guys, they suck up a lot of our space and time and energy talking about them, but there's a reason. It's not contrived. These guys are definitely polarizing in many ways. So it's fun to talk about, and it'll be fun to just either root or just, it's like Mike, have the house burned down. Either or, I'm good with either.
Once again, Ed, it took the conclave 2 days to select a pope. It took the NFL 3 days before they got to Shadir Sanders. That is
Did the smoke
anti-DEI
come
right
out
there,
of
my
somewhere
friend.
in,
That is anti-DEI.
Well, see, but that's
Yeah,
another
but-
point about Sanders. Everybody takes him to say it's racist. The reason that he didn't get picked in the NFL draft in the
know.
first or second round is because people don't like black people. Come on, it's a National Football League. If you're going to win me a title, they'd pick somebody who was a zebra. Then they wouldn't give a damn at this point. And
Yeah.
the
And by
fact
the way,
of the
I
matter
want
is,
to point out the blatant racism here. You don't have a black guy. I guess a Hispanic guy is okay, but obviously Mike's total white bread. You two guys to my other side are, average white boys, if you will. But
well, that's
love
why
yeah.
I'm sick of hearing
Still,
this whole
this
thing
is a
about
racist
it.
show. Let's face it.
Racism in the National Football League. That's why we didn't pick Shedeur Sanders. Complete and utter and undeniable screaming out of the air blow bullshit. I mean, there's no proof to it whatsoever. It's just people
he's
looking for an excuse. That's
yeah,
all.
no, that's
Is
that.
Tebow still out there? Can we get Tebow back in? For all those conservative white people to cheer him on. Because he just needs a chance, Ed. He needs a chance. That's all he needs.
He does. He needs that
Segue
chance.
into another
We have
dark topic.
to give him that chance. It's our responsibility. The third one on that is, and I want to make sure we just get on this a second, is Dak Prescott. I am sick and tired of hearing about how Dak Prescott deserves to win a Super Bowl and he's going to lead the Cowboys to the promised land. First of all, I despise the Dallas Cowboys. Yes, I'm one of those people who sits there. I root for them. Every time the scoreboard comes up and I see the Cowboys are losing, yes, it's a good day. The Cowboys are going to lose and Jerry Jones is going to be all pissed off again, and it proves that he sucks as an owner and a general manager. I love it every single day. But Dak Prescott's had his chance, guys. He's talented, but he hasn't won spit. But we're going to hear this again because there's this whole Dallas Cowboys America's team stuff, which we know is false. They're not America's team anymore. We all know right now as we sit here that it has to be true at this point that the Miami Dolphins are America's team. Sorry, I get something in my eye. See, and look at that. And Wise picks that moment to leave, George.
Another man down here, and we're left to carry the weight. Man, this is hard, baby. I thought I was just going to be a supporting actor. I didn't think I'd have to carry this whole show.
You got to carry it, brother.
Man. I'm coming.
You got to get in there and carry it. Oh God!
Anyway,
all right.
So I don't know. Let's go back on topic. I guess the thing is too. It's not so much Dak. I kind of feel sorry for him some ways because it's a whole Jerry Jones egomaniacal bullshit that you deal with every year. And obviously he meddles. Yeah. So I think that's a big part of it is people just love to see loudmouths and egomaniacs get shot down. I don't think Dak fits that profile. He just happens to be the most high profile player on a very high profile team. Am I out too? Oh,
no,
wow.
you're
I'm
back. You're good.
I was out
You're
briefly.
good.
But, he's the high profile player on the high profile team. But is he good? Yeah. Is he the great guy who's going to lead them to the Super Bowl? Probably not. But there will certainly be, it opens up. You see those memes at the end of the year, the nacho year, Dak, where he's got a bag of Doritos and that kind of thing, the whole thing. So, just be prepared for more of that.
That's all, folks.